Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm going to answer a question that one of our viewers asked in a recent video, which is the subject of where are my wealthiest clients moving to? So we're going to cover that today, and you might be surprised, you might not be surprised. Should be interesting. In the meantime, before we go on, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Click the subscribe button, the notification bell, the all notifications so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Please go and check out some of the other content. I really appreciate your support. And if you're interested in these subjects of international structuring, of where to move, of financial optimization, of international tax planning, getting residencies and citizenships, and all this kind of stuff that we talk about on this channel, please reach out to me. You can book a call at calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below. Or you can send us a message through offshorecitizen.net or offshorecapitalist.com. All right. So, clearly, there's a lot of people relocating now. Some interesting statistics for you that might be interesting or might not. In Malta, where they have the most expensive official citizenship by investment program, over 900,000 euros by the time all is said and done, the number one group of people, in fact, accounting for about 75% of applicants now, have become Americans. Very, very interesting. I can tell you I have talked to numerous very wealthy people, or quite wealthy people, whatever, who will tell me, Michael, this planning that I am doing today, all of my successful entrepreneurial friends are doing. Not one, not like here or there. Every single one of them, without exception, is planning. Now, I don't want to exaggerate that. That does not mean they're leaving, but they are establishing like what I would call plan Bs. Okay, like it is shocking to me the extent to which people are planning. We're not talking about like, hey, listen, doing tax planning. Of course, people are going to do tax planning, right? We're talking about people who are saying, hey, listen, I'm concerned about what's going on. I want to have a backup plan so I have alternatives. And so, yeah, it's just like this massive flood of people. Now, this being said, very few people are moving to Malta long term. Okay, so Malta is not the place. But some of the places that are hot are certainly Dubai. There's a lot of people who are going to Dubai. I've talked about this before. I'm very bullish on it because you just kind of think logically. It's a world-class city that's zero tax. Where else can you go? I have some clients who are in Monaco who are considering moving to Dubai, right? And you can just kind of think about this. Monaco, kind of the former, first world zero tax country, but it's really constrained. It's very restricted. It's not very much going on there, etc. It's not young, dynamic people who are making things happen. It's more like retired people who sold their business for $100 million and are pretending to go to business meetings, but really it's an excuse to go to lunch and they're not really doing anything, right? That's kind of the culture of Monaco. Dubai, on the other hand, is attracting progress. It's attracting people who are building stuff. It's attracting people who are, wanting. So it's unsurprising, I would say, that Dubai is one of those places. The next place that is on another end of the spectrum, which may surprise you, is Ireland. Okay, so not a hugely popular place, but some people going to Ireland. And when you think about this, you can kind of categorize it a few ways. First of all, there's the non-dom program, so that's good. Number two, quality of life is quite high in Ireland. Number three, it's probably arguably the best passport in the world today. So if you want to work towards a passport, hey, listen, that's one that you can go for because it has special status with the UK, as well as it has a member of the EU, as well as it's just accepted everywhere. And they're not total Nazis when it comes to their tax policies, etc. So it's a reasonable option. It's safe. It's so on and so forth. So not totally surprising. What are some other places? Historically, I think people were going to Spain. Not so much anymore. I'm seeing people depart Spain. A lot of them are leaving Spain to go to Dubai, right? That's sort of the shift. Quite a number of people are going to Portugal. A lot of them are kind of under the golden visa program. That's, take advantage of the NHR, do the golden visa. And typically the ones who are wealthiest who are doing this, I find, are doing it with the idea that they want the EU passport. So that's kind of the direction over there. A few are going to Italy under the 100,000 lump sum tax regime, so that's another. A few are going to Switzerland, so not really too surprising in that regard. I would say Switzerland to some extent competes with Ireland, so you've got that playing out. And then unsurprisingly, I would say Asia. Now, a bunch want to go to Singapore. That being said, Singapore's been pretty closed right now, so some will say, hey, listen, that's kind of on the back burner. But Singapore, as well as London, so those are also some places. This is pretty much the gamut for people who I know who are, quite wealthy, right? I see people going and like getting places in the Caribbean, in Cayman Islands and in Mexico, etc. But as an actual like, hey, I'm moving there to live, usually they aren't doing that. So I see very few people who are actually going to live in Caribbean islands long-term period, which isn't really too surprising, right? You have a small island, there's not too much to do there. You're going to get bored after 4 months for most people, and it's a nice place to go on vacation, but to live, not so much. Mexico, lots to do, lots going on, etc. And I do see a lot of people going there. It's an increasingly popular place, etc. But usually, again, the people who are the wealthiest, what I observe is they may have a house there, but it's not where they're going to stay. It's not like their main home. And you can play out different reasons why that would be. I don't see a lot of interest in the rest of Latin America. Like, I'm starting to hear people talk about Ecuador a little bit more. Of course, I've mentioned before Nicaragua, but these are not, the most successful people. These are people who are in the building phase, and that makes sense, right? These are maybe lower cost places, or the places that are off the road, etc. If you're looking at, London, like, this is a world-class city. There's lots going on, and you can get the non-dom program. If you're in Ireland, again, it's a great passport. There's a bunch to love about it. There's also a few things to dislike. Obviously, the weather of some of those places maybe isn't for everybody. But again, has the non-dom program. The quality of life is higher than places in like Cyprus. I've seen a few go to Cyprus, but Cyprus is more like a stop-off point as opposed to like a final destination. Dubai, people won't stay in all year, but there's a lot of people who are relocating there to say, hey, listen, I'm going to spend 4 to 8 months a year there, and then I'll travel for the other period of time. And usually people have kind of some personal connections other places. So maybe you own a house or an apartment in a few different cities, and you base yourself out of Dubai, and you kind of rotate. So those would be some observations that I have seen. Certainly the trend amongst a certain group is to go to Singapore, and I think that will continue over time. I don't see that changing. There's also something to be said for people who are leaving China in particular, and kind of the halo of that area, who are interested in going to other, I guess what I would say are viewed as more secure areas. So, whether that is going to Europe, which might include London, right? Those areas might include Portugal, but also might include going to Canada, going to the US. US, I would say, is getting less popular, but there's still a reasonable demand for that. To some extent, Australia. Obviously, Australia's been kind of closed down, and New Zealand. But those are not where I see the majority of the people who talk to me. So anyway, I hope that's interesting to you. Hopefully it's helpful, gives you some sense of what's going on in the world today. I'm sure, over time it will continue to shift and evolve, and that's what's exciting about it. So let me know if you have places that you've seen people relocating. I think that's very cool, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.